Hi everyone, welcome back to Kubaza Market, hashtag Ask the Creative. Today I have the amazing, the super talented Nukwase. Yes, I'm giving you a very grand intro because she deserves it. Like, if you don't know who Nukwase is, get your life in order. She is a visual artist, an amazing visual artist. She is a mental health advocate. Her type of art is called surreal. The like this hard game. How do you say?
Surrealism.
Surrealism. Very educated person. Very but we're gonna get into all of that and just like hear from her and yeah. So tell us about yourself, Nukwase. Let people know.
My name is Nukwase Tembo. I'm a visual artist. I reside within Osaka. And like she said, I do surreal art. And I love fashion and anything creative.
Yes. Oh, full package. I love that. I love fashion too. So it's nice to meet someone who's just as into that. I love that. Just to for some of us that might not understand really, what is surrealism? Surreal art.
So surreal, I think the simplest way I can explain it is realistic images depicted in a non-realistic way. Yeah.
So like a bit, is that because I see most of your pictures have, most of your paintings have like an arm. That's not an arm. It's stretched out into a tree. Is that what that is? Okay.
Yeah.
Your art is very dreamlike. Is that what it?
Well, mine is not based off. Obviously, like the surreal movement, they used to do works based off dreams and stuff like that. But mine is not like that.
Educate us. What's the surreal movement?
So the surreal movement was started by artists like Salvador Dali, Rene Magritte in the 1940s.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was a movement across Europe. One of the art movements in art history. I don't really relate to them, obviously, because we're different. They were white men. I'm a black woman.
Yeah.
So even the context of my work is extremely different from what they were doing, but the style is related. Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense. So that like the grandfather of the type of art that you do.
Yeah.
Speaking of you not being a white man, your art seems very woman focused. Is that deliberate? Okay.
Yeah. So I mostly depict black women, because obviously I'm a black woman. Mostly because I feel that we are not depicted in a very humane manner. Most images you see of black women, mostly, like, we're depicted in this, strong, but we're not really, our vulnerable side is not shown. Like other aspects, like other layers of what makes us who we are not shown in most spheres. Yeah, so the multiple layers of black womanhood are not explored, they're not depicted by many artists. So I've chosen to do that because we are not perceived as human and soft, and we're not perceived as soft because we're not humanized to a very large extent, even by ourselves. So it's really about changing the way the world perceives us and the way we perceive ourselves as well.
I love that. You know, the beauty of artists, every time you look back at history, you get to see what it was like in that time.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that you are going for like visuals that help change the narrative. Like, you said a lot of deep things. First of all, let me dive into that. I love that you mentioned how we are constantly viewed as strong but then at the same time dehumanized. So it's not. I think I heard this a couple of times online about how black women are tired of being called strong. You know, like we're the ones who want to bear all the burdens, or the ones holding the families down. We want to carry the. It's like no. Sometimes I just want to read my book and drink my tea.
Exactly.
You know, I'm soft. I'm fragile as well.
There's
And
so many
layers to it.
Yeah.
It's not just strength and like animal strength.
Exactly.
It's the cattle with the, what are they called?
Oxen, yes.
Yeah, type of strength. And it's like
Yeah.
no, there is more to that. I love that. And how we talk about even to ourselves, we're dehumanized even to ourselves. I think that's a very important conversation for black women to have. I think many times we don't realize even to ourselves, yes, we have dehumanized ourselves. Wow, that's it. Okay. Before we dive into like history and why we are in this place where we have dehumanized ourselves, let's go back to the artwork. So like the whole sorrow and all of that, it's really beautiful and I love it. And yeah, you know, there's so many pieces. Like obviously you're taking us far, but there's so many pieces already that I can think of right now that I'm just like, what was going on in your mind? Could you explain? There's this one piece of the timepiece. I put it up here, but it has the time like glass.
The hourglass.
Yes, the hourglass, and there's a woman defecating, and there's two people that look like are lovers. What was that about?
So there's this art movement. It's called Inktober. Yeah. So it happens every October. So artists around the world. So there's prompts for every day. So you create a drawing for every day, and each day has a theme. So you create work based around that theme. So for me, my Inktober is I take it as an opportunity to create really deep work.
It's intense.
Yes.
To say the least.
So the theme for that day was, I think, shit.
Oh,
Yeah,
just flat out shit.
just shit.
Okay.
So you create a piece based off shit. So my piece particularly was talking about how the mainstream of pretty much everything is kind of shit.
Oh, is that the woman defecating? So
Yes.
what is the mainstream?
Yes.
Giving the people shit and the people
Yeah.
are eating it up
Like
like it's
it's
candy.
ice cream.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow. I saw the hourglass and I was thinking, it's like time. Like time is a facade. Like what is this? The
But
illusion
then
of time.
the beauty about it also is it allows you, the viewer, to interpret it.
True.
in-
Every piece does
Yeah,
that.
yeah. So I also put it out there for people to interpret it differently.
No, I
So
agree.
like 5 different people will see 5 different things. Yeah.
Amazing. It's good to hear it from the creator's mind though, just to know what was going on. I saw a piece recently that looked very beautiful and happy to me. And then I read the caption and the little tag that's there because it was in a gallery and it says we are tired. So now I'm looking at it and I'm looking for the sorrow and I'm looking for the frustration. I'm like, y'all look happy. I don't get it. Okay, you know what? I'm not, because art is very triggering sometimes when
Yes.
you really get into the, especially like sad pieces, if you get into the depth of what the artist was going for, it can be quite triggering. And I didn't want to be triggered the day, so I just say, you know what, you look happy to me. I'm just gonna walk away. Yeah, because that sentence in of itself triggers a lot in me. So I was just like, no, no. But it's lovely to see it that way. Wow. So like from shape you got that. Okay. And the really beautiful piece of the woman, it was like a mirror piece, with the lion.
Oh,
What was
okay.
going on with that?
So that's actually a self-portrait. Yeah, thank you. I created it at a time when I was rediscovering myself. Along the way, like during my journey as an artist, I did lose my way.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was the piece that was sort of like the cornerstone of me re-establishing who I was and the way I wanted to be and who I wanted to be.
Okay. When you say you lost yourself, is that like because obviously everyone has a version of themselves in their head. Did you feel like you were losing your way from that version, or there's just a tag you have put for yourself? Because I find myself sometimes I'm in that trap where I like tags, like I'm Yunia, the MC, and then I just have to stick to that. Was that what was happening? Was that
No.
like an identity crisis type of thing?
It was more on my being an artist. When I started out, it was really hard to. Okay, most people didn't understand my work. It was difficult. Yeah, so at some point I found myself sort of like trying to be likable. So I changed my style. I sort of like toned it down.
Commercialized.
Yeah, I wanted, like I was going in that direction, but at that point in time I wasn't even enjoying what I was doing. Yeah, because it wasn't coming from an authentic place to begin with. Yeah, so I finally decided to say, you know what, it's either you love me or you don't.
And art really is like that. Like you can't change the artist, and that's the beauty. You know, one thing that I really, really appreciate about art is I noticed this with poems. No matter how limited a vocabulary might be, you will never see two exact same pieces. Like poems will never be exactly the same.
Yeah.
Neither will paintings, neither will music. It doesn't matter even if they sampled 90% of that sound from someone else, like art will just always be different, and that's because of the essence of the artist.
Yeah.
If it's not there, then it's not, it doesn't even, and the funny thing is, like you're trying to be likable. Were the pieces that you were producing likable to what you thought it would be?
I was trying to be likable to a certain crowd of people, like of art collectors.
Okay.
I won't mention.
We don't want to burn bridges.
Yeah, I was trying to appeal to a certain crowd, and then I stopped appealing to the crowd that actually liked my original kind of work. Yeah, so then I realized to say, hey, it doesn't matter what you do in life. There's always going to be people who love what you're doing, and there's always going to be people who don't love what you're doing. So you might as well do what's true to you. Yeah.
Interesting. I mean, yeah. You either love it or you hate it. What's that? You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Right? That's the saying.
Yeah.
Anyway, so when did you get started? You talked about finding yourself along with the way you lost yourself. How was this? Obviously, this was in your early years. When did you start off? How long have you been doing this for?
I've been practicing since 2014.
Okay.
Yeah. So 2014 is when So prior to then, I just used to do portraits.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I knew the kind of art I wanted to do. It was in my mind, but I just didn't know how to translate it onto paper or canvas. But 2014 is when I just decided to say, okay, I'm going to,
This is what I do.
yeah, I'm going to try and create.
How was the
pieces.
response in that first year?
It was good. I was tagged as controversial.
Okay, we love controversial. We love controversial.
The most controversial artist in town is what I was called. Yeah. So my work was very, very.
It still is very.
All my earlier pieces were quite something.
Okay.
But yeah, it was good. It was also a learning curve, because I just started doing something new, so there was so much to learn.
Okay.
So even the time when I sort of like toned it down and started doing pieces that I wanted to be more appealing. During that journey, I also learned a few things that I started to apply to my work again. Like when
More about yourself.
yeah.
Okay.
So it wasn't all in vain. It was.
No, everything.
Yeah.
You know, even if you go on a bender for 5 weeks, and
Yeah.
you're just like a wreck, you will definitely pick up something from being a wreck. You'll be like, okay, even when I'm a wreck, I don't want to be this type of wreck.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay. So 2014 till now, obviously you were doing stuff before that. Did you go to school for this? Did you?
Yes. So I went to the Zambia Open University in 2009.
Okay.
I was in correspondence. So at the time I was working for a media company, and I dabbled into acting for a bit, and I worked behind the scenes of a few productions. Yeah,
Creative stuff.
creative stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, so I did quite a lot during that period.
When you say when you went to school, what were you doing in school?
Visual art.
Visual art.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So you're a trained visual artist.
Yeah.
Amazing. Would you find that there are any benefits to going to school for visual art?
It depends what school you're going to.
Okay.
Two, it's good. It helps to further your career, especially when it comes to exhibiting internationally, taking part in stuff like biennales and art residencies. There's a whole world of.
What does it help with? Exactly. Is
Like
it 'cause, if you get like a ordinary, just call them ordinary. But anyway, if you get an ordinary degree, aka an engineer, right? The paper weighs.
Yes.
Yeah. So is that the same?
It is the same, but even even if you're not trained, if you're good at what you do and you're consistent and your work carries weight, you can still find yourself in those spaces.
Okay.
Yeah, it's obviously not as simple or straightforward as if you went to school, but it's still possible. Yeah, school just adds just a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
And also opens up your mind, I guess, to knowing that these places are there and how to go about
I
doing it.
guess, but for as long as you are in the arts circles, you will know because you're hanging around other artists, and these opportunities are being presented and and
Okay. While we're here, I'm like, nowhere to go. But did that help with? Let's talk about your exhibitions. So you had a couple of exhibitions.
Two.
Okay.
Two solo.
Two solo.
Mm.
Solo exhibitions. Technically, a combo is solo is two. But yeah, so you had the two solo exhibitions, which is amazing, and I would say it's what an artist dreams of, having those solo exhibition.
Mm.
What was that like? Let's go back to the beginning. How when you started the first one, how to go about it, who are the people, I don't know, who helped, what was something memorable? Because obviously it's memorable. It was something that you remember, like, oh, when I did my first exhibition.
Well, for my exhibitions, I've been doing them outside the gallery system. So I pretty much do everything myself.
Wow.
Yeah.
Venue, drinks, food,
Yes.
snacks, entertainment.
Yeah.
And
So it's been it's not easy, obviously, but it's been fulfilling because with having exhibitions under galleries, there's a bit of restrictions on how you can express yourself sometimes.
how so? Like the pieces that you bring forth?
Yeah.
Okay.
So some galleries will possibly tell you that they want you to make certain kind of work and it should be like this. So it sort of like constricts you as an artist. And then,
Even if you're the one presenting, like, this is my collection, I would like to exhibit.
yeah, because they're curating your work, obviously.
Okay.
Yeah, and because they have that clientele who like certain kind of work. So yeah, so also if your work doesn't fit that criteria, then they won't take you on. So I've been trying. Initially, I wanted my exhibition to be at Lettre Art Gallery,
Okay.
but they gave me a runaround. They kept giving me excuse after excuse. So I decided to say, you know what, I'm just going to do it myself. Yeah, and yeah, I won't have to worry about sharing whatever money I make, and I have full control. Yeah. I can do what I want, how I want it, and yeah, it wasn't perfect. It was good. Yeah, but because it was the first time, but the turnout was amazing because so many people showed up, and it was different. Like, it was different from most art exhibitions.
I mean, because you did choose to do it solo, so
Yeah.
obviously it's gonna have a little flair.
Yeah.
was the second one? What was the second one? Not knowing what you knew by the time you were doing the second one.
So for the second one, was much easier to pull off.
This was in
Last year.
Okay,
September. Yeah. 2021. Yeah. It was much easier to pull off. I think I really, so I like delaying most times, but I started pushing about 2 months before. Yeah.
with the marketing and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
But social media is where most of the magic happens. As long as you get traction on social media platforms, it gets really easy to get the word out there. And yeah, but it was much easier to put together on the first one.
Yeah. It was a success.
It was a success as well.
Okay. We love it. We love that for you. Amazing. Definitely inspiring. Like 2014 to now, exhibitions, insane amount of work. I love it. I want to get into maybe just because we talked about you going to school and the benefit that you found in going to school for artwork. So would you say, like, looking back to your younger self, would you still say, like, Nukwase, do go to school for this? Well, what advice would you give your younger self?
The advice I would give my younger self is maybe try.
Are you like picking your advice? You're like,
Yes. I was going to say maybe try to go to school outside, but then I don't think I would have liked the person I would have become had I gone to school outside.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a way that art school also kind of I'm looking for
Changes you?
changes, yeah, and kind of like constricts you in a way. I think it's the same as these gallery spaces, the white spaces.
Mhm.
It's sort of like
Okay, so the whiteness would have affected you.
yeah, they constrict you somehow, I guess. So I don't think I would have liked the person I would have become.
You fear that you wouldn't be Nukwase, the woman that depicts black women today,
Possibly,
if you were in a white space.
possibly, yeah,
Okay.
possibly, or I would have been doing it. Yeah, no, possibly,
Yeah. So a lot of the authenticity in your work is in the being Zambian, being here,
yeah,
in the black experience.
yeah.
Okay.
It's different. I mean, obviously, no journey is easy.
Mhm.
Like whatever path you choose to take, you will always find obstacles and
Yeah.
there's ups and downs in whatever path you take. But I think I took the right one. So
It's your life, really.
yeah.
You're
so
loving your life now.
yeah, I would advise my younger self to just keep going and
Stay the path.
stay the path. Yeah.
You know you had a good life when your advice to your younger self is stay the path. You know how solid your life has to be when you're like, nah, stay the path. Like, do everything.
It was hard. It was hard.
Yeah, but all the lessons, every experience, it's just like, no, it's brought me to who I am.
Yeah.
So stay the path.
Yeah.
I love that. I think it's beautiful to not have any regrets, really.
Mm.
In as much as we do this, what would you tell your younger self? Really, we're just like, what do you regret?
Yeah.
And actually, like, you could change, and it's good that you're living a life where, like, nah, I don't regret anything.
Yeah.
That absolutely my experience. This is my truth. This is who I am. Going back to your pieces, of course, you mentioned how a lot of your pieces were you were even termed controversial. We have to ask. You just wake up and say, today, violence. By the way, you should check out her pieces. Then you understand this question. Madam, do you just wake up and say, today I am choosing violence? Because a lot of your pieces, like I had mentioned, art can be very triggering. Your pieces are very, I don't even have the word, but you know what I mean, because I feel like that's what you go for. So, do you choose violence? Which I think you do. Why do you choose violence? You're so soft spoken, you're so calm, you're like this very young, beautiful lady. You know how in a movie someone would be like, and then they start speaking, and it's just straight from the mouth. Not that her pieces are cast, like, no, not like that. But like, I mean, the intensity of your work is so. You would agree, it's a bit parallel to your persona, is it?
I guess. Yeah, so that's how I express myself.
All of you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if I'm feeling angry or I'm sad or anything, I'm better off expressing it in my work. So
You carry a lot of emotion.
I do.
Okay. Because it's very felt in your pieces. It's very clear. I like that. I really like that. Okay. So you don't choose violence. Violence chooses you. Violence chooses you. And then you're like, well, my old friend. Okay. We love that. I love it for you. So one last interpretation for us. You have the piece with it looks like a woman's body turned tree with an eye. What was that about?
So for the tree, random. I was in the showgrounds because there used to be an art studio there. I used to work from there in the early 2010s. Yeah. So there was this tree that was right in front of the studio, and it was very interesting tree. And so for us artists, we see things like weird things in stuff that normal people don't, like they wouldn't pay mind to it. I would probably see someone's face in a tree and stuff like that. So for that particular tree, I saw different things. And so I took a quick sketch of the tree. This was, I think, 2010.
Wow, it's a very old piece, eh?
Well, the idea of the piece is quite old.
Right.
Yeah. Then I did the piece in 2015. Yeah. So I did the sketch of the work and I put it away. I said, okay, I'm going to work on this sometime in the future. But yeah, so then when I decided to expand on the work, and then the context of it started to unfold. Because sometimes that's what happens. I'll probably just sketch something, just something random, and then the story starts to unfold. Yeah. Then I put context into it. Yeah. So that's exactly what happened. And so the title is The Fall of Man.
The Fall. Okay.
Yeah.
Because it does give Adam and Eve vibes, like
Yeah.
apple, snake, woman.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
So I was going for that, but then also why the tree morphed into the behind of a woman. I incorporated the objectification of women.
Okay.
So I was basically saying the fall of man started when he started to objectify the woman.
Interesting take. Do you want to dive into that?
I don't know if I have the bandwidth today, but
okay.
There was a thought that I had like that time. I really even can't remember what it was all about because I was always deep in thought. I haven't thought in a very long time now.
I doubt that because your pieces are very thoughtful. So I don't think you haven't thought, but we'll say to that depth.
Yes,
Okay.
like past couple of months I have not been thinking much. So yeah. So my thought was how can I put it? Sorry, I'm not very great at speaking.
You're doing great.
Thank you. You're doing great. I'm not very good at speaking. So yeah, the fall of man. I
that
believe,
was just essentially what came
yeah,
out of it.
the fall of man, I believe, and this is not in the biblical sense, by the way. Yeah, I truly believe that. Yeah.
There's a lot of objectification going on.
Yeah, like the objectification of women was sort of like decayed, like caused decay.
Yeah.
In society.
And it's very hard to like pinpoint. It's very interesting that you take it back all the way to the beginning because it's very hard. Sometimes I sit with myself and I try to think as to where, because it's something very common in every culture. It's in every culture. This is not a white man problem. This is not a black people problem.
It's just
Every
it's a
culture
humanity problem.
theme. Yes. And it's like, what is it about the human core that has made devaluing women, objectifying women? Okay, like it's just let's not get into that. I understand why you were like you have the bandwidth because I just realized now I'm getting into that. So okay, so it was Adam and Eve and the fall of man. It was it was a very interesting piece to look at as I was looking at it. But you're talking about not thinking. She can think, please. You just had a baby. Congratulations. She's a mommy. We love you. We love you. We love you. How has that journey been? How has that tell us a little bit about you as a mother and what has changed? What kind of work can we expect from you now? Because obviously before it was very, because you talk about how the tree morphed into the woman's behind.
Mm-hmm.
I take it that is it for every time that you have presented the woman's body, maybe like the bum, the breast, is that to talk about objectification of women?
Most times.
Most times.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be argued that you are objectifying women, enjoying them in that form?
No,
Okay.
because I'm basically telling it like it is.
Which is
People are objectifying women, and also it's also a way of normalizing the female form. At the end of the day, it's just a body. It shouldn't be something you look at and the first thought that should come to you
It's last.
is lust and sex. No, it's like it's just a body.
Okay.
Yeah, and it should be normalized. Like looking at it shouldn't evoke those emotions. That shouldn't be the first thing that comes to your mind.
True. I
Yeah.
don't know if we're ever going to get to that place because we always read about like how in African culture and African history, women. I mean, we still see it to this day in Rwanda
Yeah.
ceremony, the women up there
Yes.
breasted and
Yeah.
all of that beating breasts around. We see
Mhm.
the Kwesa in Botswana. You know, they have the thongs
Yeah.
and it's normal. But then with time, obviously,
Yeah.
I don't know if we're ever going to get to a place where the woman body is just that. I feel like, in a way, it breaks my heart, but I feel like we have passed that point, and now people are just damaged. Like, no, people are just damaged now. It's like it is what it is. It's like a brand that has stayed. It's very hard to kill an idea,
Yeah.
and it's an idea that's just there. And
That's true.
well, big ups to you and everyone out there that's trying to normalize these things, but I don't know, a little bit of me doesn't believe that we'll ever get to a place where it's like normalized. There'll always be a taboo essence to it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But we've come a long way.
We've come a long way, true.
And also it's funny that people even act some type of way when you know they see women wearing short skirts and stuff like that. But not so long ago, even here in Zambia, say in the 70s, if you look at pictures of our parents and grandparents, they used to wear micro mini skirts. Yes, and they would walk in town. Like it was kind of normal. People were not acting the way.
There is so much, I don't know, clothes are very interesting. And I don't even think it's clothes. I think the woman's body,
Yeah,
the woman has just, there's a lot of politics about being a woman.
very political. And it's
There's a
funny
lot of
that the
politics.
women who used to wear belts are the same ones telling you to cover up.
I was watching a movie just last night, the last duel. This woman gets raped by her husband's friend, and literally, because it's set back in like 1300s, yeah. And the law at the time, so this man is explaining to the rapist, he's like, no, rape is not a crime essentially against the woman, it's a crime of property against the man who is her custodian. I was sitting on my shelf and I just looked at myself and I'm like, this is the form that I was born in. This is the, like, you know, the woman conversation is very triggering to me. So just leave it at that. But how has that been? How has that affected your work, if in any way? Because usually we hear, you know, yeah, maternity leave, it kind of affects you, the company doesn't want you anymore, it's sort of a liability.
Yeah.
But you technically work for yourself, so what has that experience been like?
So, like throughout my pregnancy, I've had pregnancy brain. So I wasn't thinking as much, and my work depends on that a lot. So anyway, I decided to just take a break and
Okay.
focus on my journey as a mom. So now that my baby is here, I'm I'm still recovering. Yeah, so I haven't gotten back to work yet because this is when I'm even sort of like getting back into a normal routine and stuff like that. Yeah, so I think I'll only be able to tell how it's affected me when I start to create
The type of pieces that
the
you're
type of work. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm just taking each day as it comes. It'll pour out. I know.
Yeah.
It'll just happen randomly very soon. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
we're glad, and congratulations again on your baby and being mother. We love that.
Thank you.
I want to sign us off on just because you've been working in this field for a while now. What's your take on the creative industry at the moment in London? Has it obviously there's been some evolution. We're seeing more and more creatives coming up. What's your take on that? How beneficial is that to the industry at large? And yeah, any critiques maybe that you have?
Okay, so the industry, are we talking like generally creative industry?
You can talk about creative industry, or you can niche it down to visual artistry.
Oh, okay. Well, I think I'll just talk about it collectively.
Okay.
It's connected. Yeah. I think we've come a long way,
For sure.
very long way, and we're actually living in a time where people can live off their work
Every day.
as creatives. Before it was really hard, even say for visual artists, especially women. You would find they'll practice well enough, and once they get married, they fall off. They would
Really? I would not suspect that this is like of all the niches out there, I would not think a visual artist would not create when they would not. That's strange to me.
Well, it's mostly to do with the spouse. Obviously, you'll find they're not with supportive spouses.
Okay.
Yeah. So for us, the new generation, we have supportive spouses.
Make it a thing to have a supportive spouse, no
Yeah.
matter what field you're in.
Yes.
Especially as a woman, it's important. Like it's so important to have a supportive spouse because
Yeah.
you end up playing what is it called, second fiddle, the rest of your life.
Yeah.
You'd be a backthought, and no matter how much your spouse loves you, like it's inevitable for human beings to take things for granted and just forget.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you'll find people are being told, no, this is what you're doing, it's not serious, how are we going to feed the children and stuff like that. So most people would fall off. Unless those maybe who were married to fellow artists. There's a few who've kept going, yeah, and they flourished in what they're doing. So yeah, there's been that. We've evolved in a positive, positively, and more Zambians are appreciating art.
True.
The different kinds of art. More Zambians are paying for music, are going to shows,
That's great.
that's streaming. More Zambians are following artists on online platforms. Like attending artists. Yeah, they're buying work, which is something that wasn't common, especially say 20 years ago. You'd find, so like for visual arts, you'd find most artists are trying to appeal to the expat community because
Mhm.
those are the
Yes.
people who would,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
like they would go for art exhibitions. They were the ones who were collecting art. Yeah, so now there's been a new wave of art collectors who are Zambian.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, who are collecting art and appreciating. And
That's
it's,
nice. So there is growth and there is hope for more.
yes, definitely. And,
Amazing.
yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna catch up in like 20 years. And I'm like, look what's it, where we at? And then you give us a breakdown of the last 20 years as well. I don't know why, but when you were speaking, I'm like, have you ever considered doing a book?
Yes.
And for some reason, something about you, your aura, and the work that you do, poetry. Have you considered that?
I used to write
Poetry.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've done a lot of poems. So yeah, it's something that I have considered doing.
Is that something we can look forward to?
Yes, most
Yay!
definitely.
I don't really see. I love that. I love that. God is just like, yes, there is a book. So now it's on record that we can look up for a poetry book, and I feel like it's gonna be phenomenal. Because I love the way there was a book that I read. It had line art, and it was nice to see the pieces and then the poetry next to it, and your pieces with some poetry. Amazing stuff. So yeah, okay, I'll be looking forward to that. Seeing a lot of that. I think we've come about to the end. This has been Nukwase Tembo. And you can look her up on her socials, follow her, like her work, buy her work. Where can people find you? What are your handles?
So people can find me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. My handle is keeping it surreal / Nukwase Tembo Art.
Okay, keeping it zero. And you get it here. We asked the creative and we heard what the creative had to say. So be sure to follow her, like, buy all that good stuff, recommend anybody that knows things, if you're looking for visual artists to do a collection, she's great at that. And follow us as well, Facebook and Instagram at Kubaza Market. Until next time, bye. That's